Most people who want to train at home make the same mistake. They try to recreate a gym. They buy resistance bands, kettlebells, dumbbells, suspension trainers, and maybe even a bench, possibly a pull-up bar. Before they've done a single workout, they've already made training more complicated than it needs to be. If you're just getting started, I think you're often better off choosing just one piece of equipment and sticking with it. In this video, I'll explain why. The problem isn't equipment. When people think about training at home, they usually ask, what equipment should I buy? That's often the wrong question. The bigger question is, how can I make training as easy as possible to stick to? Because consistency is almost always the thing that gets people results. Not the equipment, not the program, not the perfect exercise selection, but being consistent. And one of the easiest ways to become more consistent is to reduce the number of decisions you have to make. Over the years, I've watched plenty of people walk into commercial gyms and look completely lost. Not because they're not capable, but because they're overwhelmed. There's a machine for everything. Multiple dumbbell racks, barbells, cable stations, benches, attachments, different exercises for every muscle group. And every decision takes mental energy. What exercise should I do? What machine should I use? Should I use dumbbells or a barbell? How heavy should I go? What's the best option? When you train at home with just one tool, most of those decisions will disappear. One training tool simplifies everything. Let's decide you're going to train with dumbbells. Immediately, your options become fewer. And that's a good thing. You're naturally limited to a smaller pool of exercises. You start learning the same movements repeatedly, such as squats, rows, presses, deadlifts, lunges. You stop jumping around and you stop searching. And you stop wondering whether there's a better exercise. Instead, you start getting good at the ones you're already doing. And that's where progress happens. There's another benefit too. You start developing a rhythm. Every workout feels familiar. You know how to use your equipment and you know how to perform your exercises. You know roughly how long your session will take. And you know what you're doing before you even start. That familiarity removes resistance. And when training feels easy to begin with, you're more likely to stick with it. I think learning to train is a bit like learning a musical instrument. Imagine you decide you want to learn the guitar. You start learning chords. You practice regularly. Before long, you can play a few songs. Now imagine halfway through learning the guitar, you decide to learn the bass as well. The bass is useful. It complements the guitar. They're both great instruments. But now you're splitting your attention between two different skills. Learning both will take longer than mastering one. And if your goal is to simply play songs for friends or do a bit of busking, you'd probably be better off focusing all your energy on becoming a decent guitarist first. Training works in a very similar way. You don't need to learn how to use every piece of equipment. You don't need to master barbells, kettlebells, cables, resistance bands. Just pick one. Learn how to use it, build your confidence with it, develop the skill with it. Then expand later if you want to. For most beginners, my preference is usually dumbbells. Not because they're magical in any way, but because they're practical. They're easy to learn, they don't take up much space, and they allow you to train almost every major movement pattern. If all you had was a pair of adjustable dumbbells, you could build strength, muscle, fitness, and confidence for a very long time. More importantly, you'd spend less time thinking about training and more time actually doing it. The mistake many people make is assuming they need more options. More equipment, more exercises, more variety. But when you're starting out, simplicity is an advantage. Choose one tool, learn what you can do with it, practice a handful of movements, and get into a routine. Build momentum, because the goal isn't to own lots of equipment. The goal is to become someone who trains consistently. And one piece of equipment is often all you need to get started.